Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Morty and Aaron show here from in Galus, not in Eretz Yisrael, but in Galus, in Galus. Not only that we're not in Eretz Yisrael, but we can't even be in our own shuls. So here we are. We're going to be sharing with everybody a story about the Shelah HaKadosh. The Shelah HaKadosh stands for Shnei Luchos Habris, right? Rabbi Yeshaya ben Avram Halevi Horowitz. There was a big tzaddik. He was born in the city of Prague, the magical city of Prague, which till today is one of the most beautiful cities in all of Europe. And in the year of 1555, 1555, kids, is a long time ago. We're in 2020. 1555 is almost 500 years ago. Just under 500 years ago, this big tzaddik was born. His father was the Talmud, the student of the Ramah in Germany, or Moshe Isserles. And this big tzaddik went to yeshiva every day, and he learned a lot of Torah. And at the age of 35, he was already considered one of the greatest tzaddikim and Talmidei Chachamim in the generation. That in the year 1590, he was part that signed a document from all of Europe. It's called the Council of the Four Lands, and they made special takanas. And at the age of 47, just 7 years later, in the year 1602, he became Av Besdin in Austria. And by the age of 51, he became the chief rabbi in Frankfurt. And then finally, at the age of 59, in the year 1614, in his hometown where he was brought up, he became the chief rabbi of Prague, the greatest rabbi of Prague. And there he stayed until he was 66 years old. And at the age of 66 years old, lo aleinu v'lo alamenu, it should not come upon us or anybody, but his wife passed away. His wife, the Rebbetzin, the Tzaddikes, that was with him all those years. She went to the yeshiva Shel Mala. She went to a place where all the tzadkonios go. At that point in time, he decided that it's time for me to move to Eretz Yisrael. Sometimes we have an opportunity to go to Eretz Yisrael. We don't all take advantage of it. And sometimes it's easy. And sometimes we always think it's always going to be easy. I can go whenever I want, just jump on a plane. But see, children, today it's not that easy. To be in Eretz Yisrael is a big schus. And he decided at the age of 66 to go to Eretz Yisrael and to open up a yeshiva and to be part of the entire community in Eretz Yisrael. He was a tremendous Talmud Chacham, and we even have the famous Tfilas HaShlah on Aleph Sivan, which is just after Pesach. On Aleph Sivan, there's a special tefillah that the Shelah wrote so that children could be matzliach when they learn Torah. They can be very successful. Parents on Rosh Chodesh Sivan go and say this tefillah from the Shelah so that their children could be successful. And here you go, at the age of 66, the Shelah HaKadosh starts preparing his journey to Eretz Yisrael. He goes and he finds a wagon. And in the wagon, he has in it a special hidden compartment. You see, a wagon back in the day, there was no trains. This is before trains. All they had was a wagon with big metal wheels, and the wagon was made out of wood, and it was an enclosed box, and it sat on a chassis. A chassis is the type of piece of metal that connects the wagon, the box, to the wheels. And as it sat on that wheels, it had two big sticks in front of it where you tie the horses, and then as the horses walk or run, it pulls the wagon. Wow. But you can't really go so far with such a wagon. It takes a long time. And here he is in Prague, and he has to go all the way into the capital city of Turkey called Constantinople. And it's a very, very, very long journey. And the wagon can go maybe 20, 30 miles a day. And every day he has to stop somewhere and go into a hotel or sleep on the road. And it was very difficult. So he took all the money that he saved his whole life and prepared a special hidden compartment. A little in the floor of the wagon, he lifted a piece of wood and he saw that there was an empty space, and he took all of his money and put it there and closed it up so that nobody can see it. And he used gold coins and silver coins, and he put it into this little area underneath the floor of the wagon that nobody knew where his money was, so that when he goes to Eretz Yisrael, he'll have the opportunity to go and build his yeshiva and start teaching Torah to whoever wants to learn Torah by him. So the Shelah HaKadosh attaches onto his journey another tzaddik, a young Shocet, and he says, would you like to come with me to Eretz Yisrael? Yes, I would love to. So the Shochet comes with his knives and his svarim, and they get onto the wagon and they start their journey. And as they go from town to town, the townspeople hear, wow, the Shelah HaKadosh is going to be coming to our town. And they welcome him, and they encourage him, and they give him donations for his trip, and they give donations for building the yeshiva in Eretz Yisrael. And the Shelah was very happy because as he travels, it cost a lot of money. And because it cost a lot of money, he didn't want to go and take money from his little compartment, because that money was saved for Eretz Yisrael, and he didn't want to chas v'shalom have to be going to Eretz Yisrael without money. So what happened was, people gave him money and asked for his bracha, and they heard shiurim from him, and everywhere he went, people got a tremendous chizuk. And because they gave him more money, he didn't have to spend the money that he had saved in the bottom of his secret compartment underneath the wagon that he was traveling in. And months go by, and they go through many, many different towns and cities, and finally they come to the city of Constantinople. And in Constantinople, they have no need for the wagon anymore or the horses. So it's time to sell the horses and the wagon. And when the people of the Constantinople, the big rich people, heard that the Shelah HaKadosh is here, they all came out to greet him. They welcomed him. It was a big honor for them that such a big tzaddik should be in their midst. And the Shelah HaKadosh didn't waste time, and everything prepared for the trip. And then the crazy thing happened. He opens up the bottom of his wagon. Oh no! Oh no! All the money is missing! How could it be? It was locked in there. Nobody knew about it. Only me and the Shochet knew about it. Could it be? Could it be? Shemirachem, he doesn't know what to do. So he goes over secretly, quietly, and very sensitively, and he says to the Shochet, he says, maybe, Rabbi Yid, you weren't sure, but the money that was in that compartment is missing. Maybe you took it. I won't hold it against you. Maybe you just wanted to carry it for me off the wagon before we sold the wagon. Just please return me the money, and then there's no issue. Everything's fine. So the Shelah HaKadosh, with a very sensitive, soft touch, asks him, and he says, I don't know what you mean. The Shochet says, that money, I never touched it. He says, but it's not there. But I didn't take it. But you're the only person in the world that knows that that secret compartment exists. Only you know that the money was there. Yeah, but I didn't take it. I would never take the money that was hektish. I'm not a Russia. And they started to debate, and they were talking back and forth. And the people that were around in the shul heard that, what? The Shelah is suspicious of the Shochet, that the Shochet might have taken his money. Somehow, someone went and called the police. Oh, that was a very, very bad move. Because in Constantinople and in Arab countries at that time, They lived under a code called Hammurabi's Code of Law. Then if a person steals, they get killed. Or if a person steals, at least they cut off a hand. And it was a very, very, very difficult time. All of a sudden the police showed up and arrested him right away. And the Shelah says, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" He says, "We're taking him away to jail." He says, "Why? Why? It's between me and him. We're going to resolve it." "No, if a person steals, he has to go to jail." "Oh, no, no." Then the Shelah hears that not only is he going to jail, but they're gonna kill him. So the Shelah runs around to all the tzaddikim and all the askanim and all the people in the town and begs them to raise enough money just to save the life of the Shocet. And they come through and they say, "Okay, he's not going to die, but we're going to cut off a limb from his body." No, the Shelah runs around and says, "No, you can't do that." And he runs to the person, "Please, I want to make sure that there's nothing happens to him. Nothing happens to him. Let's raise enough money. Let's pay the judge. Let's pay whoever needs to be paid. You can't do this to him." And they try and they try and they try, and they somehow work out a deal that they're going to let him stay in prison, but they're not going to cut off anything. And the Shelah was so devastated from all of this. And all the money he had was lost. And even the money that he collected that had to go with him to Eretz Yisrael, and people from all over that helped him out, it was all lost. And not only that, the Shochet that was with him, that possibly did it, the Shelah didn't know if he did or didn't, but he had to go save him and spend even more money that he didn't have. And he was so saddened, but he said, "Gamzu Latova, this is from Hashem." And he went, and he made sure that nothing was going to happen physically to the Shochet. And he went on a boat to Eretz Yisrael. He gets to Eretz Yisrael, and there's a Kabbalas Panim. They're so happy for the Shelah to come. They bring him to Yerushalayim, and they make him the Rava Rashi of Yerushalayim. The Shelah Kaddish from Prague came all the way from Eretz Yisrael, and the Klal was so happy to hear about him. And from here and there, things for the Shelah started to settle, and he started to teach Torah, and things started to get better. Back in Constantinople, at this point in time, this wonderful Yid, the Shochet, is still in jail. But while he's in jail, there are other wagons that start pulling up into Constantinople that were following the Shelah. And they said, "You want to hear the craziest thing? We were following the Shelah in a distance. But we had to stop all the time because every couple of miles we would find a gold coin right there on the road." And we stopped, and then we drove again, and we found another one. And we gathered all this money. And it must be that it was from the Shelah Kadosh's money. It must have been a crack in the wagon, and it fell out. But the Shelah didn't know about this, because already at this point in time, he was in Eretz Yisrael till the wagon showed up. So they came and they brought the money and they showed it to the police. And the police said, "Well, then it was an honest mistake and he's innocent." And therefore they released the Shochet. But once people are sitting in jail, sometimes they lose their credibility and things aren't really the same for them. But guess what? This Yid, the Shochet, he decided that, let me start rebuilding my life. Went to shul and he started daven and he was learning Torah. And one day he's walking in the street looking for a job to do anything, just so he can have a little bread to eat. And he hears a conversation between two people, and one person are men from a foreign land, and they're buying special material from this lady who's an almana. And he hears the conversation, and they're talking about how much money they should pay. And he realizes that she made a mistake in math. and she left out 1 0, and therefore she was off by $1,000 or whatever the money was in that time. And that's a lot of money. So he says, "Excuse me, I don't mean to butt in, but I just want you to know that that you made a mistake in the math. If you do, if you do the math again, you'll see that you're about to lose a lot of money." And the lady listens, and she does the math over. And she says, "Wow, you just saved me $1,000. That's so much. Thank you so much. How could I thank you?" I says, "No, just I'm hungry. I didn't eat today. Maybe have a little bread." And she says, "Yeah, sure." Here, she gives him something to eat. And then every day he goes around looking for a job. Next time the lady saw him, he says, "Maybe you want to have a little job in my business and help me out, make sure I don't make mistakes." He says, "I would love to." And he started to work for this lady. And after a while, she's realized, wow, he's a tzaddik, and he's a Yireh Shamayim, and he's a good person. You know what? I have an idea. She calls up the rabbi, the Rav, and says, "This guy's a good person. He's a tzaddik. Maybe you want to talk to him and make a shidduch. Maybe he'll be interested. I'm an almana. I have a business, and he's a tzaddik. We could live together." The Rav goes over to this Shochet, the tzaddik, Rav Yankel, and says to him, would you like a shidduch? And he says, "I'd love one." He says, here's this lady, the almana. She says, "Well, she's been so kind to me. How could I ever say no, not to want to date her and to maybe possibly marry her?" And Baruch Hashem, they dated and they got married, and their business started to grow. And they became mega wealthy and super wealthy. They had so much money. All the aniyim in all of Constantinople and all the towns used to come to them. And they used to feed people and take care of people and dress people and all the tzaddikim. Everyone got everything. At the same time, in Yerushalayim, the Shelah HaKadosh, they're going through very, very difficult times. There's not enough money. So all the Rabbanim got together and said, we need what's called a shadar, shluchei dirabbanon, a person that's going to travel on behalf of all of us and collect money in foreign lands so that the aniyim of Eretz Yisrael, the aniyim of Yerushalayim, will have money for Yom Tov, and for Pesach is coming up, Kimcha de Pischa. We need help. So they volunteered the Shelah HaKadosh because he spoke other languages, and they put him on a boat and they sent him off to Constantinople. Until he got there was a couple of months, and he finally arrives into the town, and it's right before Pesach. And right before Pesach, when they bring him into town, it's a big honor and a kavod. The Shochet now doesn't look like this guy that was just a schlepper on the. He looks like a very rich man. He's wearing fancy clothing and a big fancy hat. And he goes over and he says to the Gabbai of the Shelah, "It would be an honor and privilege for me to have the Shelah as my guest for the Leil HaSeder. And he should join me in my family at the Seder." The Shelah hears that there's a rich guy, and right, he looks at him, he doesn't recognize him, obviously doesn't recognize him, and he says to him, "Well, Yasher Koach, thank you so much. I'm going to join you, looking forward." They go to shul, they daven, and then they come to this guy's big, huge mansion. He had a tremendous, gorgeous home. And at the mansion, he had multiple dining rooms and servants and bedrooms and hallways and bathrooms, and everything was amazing. And the Shelah HaKadosh comes in. He's so excited because, wow, such a chashavei Jew is going to take me in. Be'ez Hashem, he'll give a nice donation to help the people of Yerushalayim. He was happy. And when they come into the house, the Gvir, who was really the Shochet, that now is the Gvir, tells the Shelah HaKadosh, "I prepared for you your own dining room so you can do your own Seder and you'll have butlers taking care of you, bringing you wine and matzah, whatever you need. You don't have to be embarrassed, you don't have to be shy. You can do all your kavanas, you can do whatever you like. No one's going to bother you. Thank you so much. And the Shelah sits down and he has his own seder. At the same time, this rich man, he has also his own seder with his family. After the seder is over, the rich man sits down with the Shelah Kadosh and they talk in learning. And the Shelah hears, wow, this man's a Talmud Chacham. It's so nice. Not only do I go to a person that's a tzaddik in a Yerushalayim and he's Bez Hashem, he's going to give a nice donation for Aniyei Eretz Yisrael, but he's also a Talmud Chacham. What an honor, what a privilege, what a pleasure. And as the hour gets late, the Balabayis tells to the Shelah Kadosh, it's late, let me take you to your room so that you could get a good night's rest, and tomorrow we'll be in shul early, we'll daven vasikin, like the tzaddikim do. And so he walks into his room. And as they get into the room, secretly, the Shochet locks the door behind. And as the Shelah walks closer in, he jumps onto the Shelah and pulls a knife out of his pocket and puts the knife on the throat of the Shelah and says to the Shelah, you don't remember me? You know who I am? No, who are you? What do you want from me? What do you want from me? I'm the Shochet, and you left me in jail to rot and die like a dog. And they cut my ear off because they said, we're not going to cut your hand, but we're going to cut your ear just because we have to do something, and I was innocent. And now I'm giving you an opportunity to do vidui and to daven to Hashem before you return your neshama. Do you hear, Kindle, how scary this is? This must have been very petrified for the Shelah Kadosh. And he starts to daven. And he remembers the Gemara that says, even if there's a sharp sword on your throat, always remember to daven, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu can save you. And he says at Tefillah, he says, Rabbeinu Shalom, I beg from you to forgive me on all of my averos, and all of the averos that I've ever done. And I would like to also beg of you that you should be Michael, the Shochet, for the aver that he's about to do. That I have no hard feelings. I can't even imagine how difficult it was for him to be in prison for so long, and that he's upset at me. I'm asking you, please, even though he's going to do something that you're not happy with, I beg you, Hashem, please forgive him. And he davened a little bit more for Am Yisrael, for Mashiach, for people that needed refuah shalema, and he poured his heart out to Hashem. And then he said to the Shochet, now I'm ready to go. And at that point, the Shochet drops the knife. And he says, Rebbe, I never wanted to hurt you. I was never going to touch a hair on your body. But I didn't want that one day you'll go up to Shemayim and they're going to say, you're going to go to Gehenna because that innocent Shochet you put into jail because you were Choshet B'Ksherim. I didn't want you to have that type of a Gehenna. I was kosher and you were Choshet me. And now I wanted you to do vidui just for the sake of vidui and let you feel a moment of what I felt, so that you'll have a real tshuva, and Hashem will really forgive you. And then he was Michael him, the Shochet was Michael him, and the Shelah thanked him for scaring him so much. And you know what? They became the best friends in the world. The Shochet the Gvir said, I care about Am Yisrael everywhere. You know, he had such a good heart. I care about you Jews everywhere, especially in Eretz Yisrael. And he gave a lot of money that year in Pesach and the yeshiva for the Shlachos to teach Torah. He gave us so much money that it was a beautiful, beautiful Yom Tov for everybody. So, to all these magnificent, wonderful children, to Morty and Aaron, that are now in Eretz Yisrael, they're so lucky to be in Eretz Yisrael. You have such an opportunity to be with all the tzaddikim in Eretz Yisrael. I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for you. Take this time and let us reflect and let us internalize and let's look into ourselves and say, how am I going to become a better Jew today? What am I going to do to make myself better? And the results will be that we do tshuva. And even though there's a cherev, there's a sword on our throats, just like this terrible virus, we should never stop, never, never, never stop thinking that Hashem can save us in a second. It could all turn around. And the next thing you know, we're going to have Corona hummus and tahina, and it's going to be yummy and delicious. And it was only there to awaken us in our moments of time, just like the Shocet wanted to scare the Shelah Kadosh into what he was going through. So too, Hashem is really dealing with us barachamim. He wants to scare us so that we do the right thing. And as we do tshuva and we reach the darga, the levels that we need to be at, we're going to see Be'ez Hashem tremendous Yeshuas, tremendous salvations for us and all of Am Yisrael and for the whole world. For the whole world, we care about everybody. And that concludes the first story of many stories that are going to be part of the Aaron and Morty show.